Hey guys, Billy here, and today we're going to be going over three of my favorite albums that I have in my vinyl collection. These are ranked in no particular order, they're just four of my favorite albums that I would love to share with you guys. The first band we're going to talk about today is one of my all-time favorites. They're called Fireworks, and they're a pop-punk band out of Michigan, and they sound a little bit like this. I first started getting into Fireworks about 2011, and around that time I was just getting into pop punk. I was really into metal music. It wasn't really my thing, but they were one of the first bands that I listened to their album and I just kept coming back to. Gospel was the first record I heard by these guys. Man, what a first record to listen to. I mean, it's got everything. It's got lyrics that tell a story. It's got fun riffs that give off Eternal Summer vibes, and it perfectly weaves emotion from like the ebbs and flows of life. You know, the happy times, the sad times. It's got everything. I mean, it's one of those albums that is like clearly timeless. And since I started listening to it, man, they just stuck with me. I still listen to them this day, and honestly, Gospel might be one of my top 5 records of all time. I haven't made like a definitive list, but it's up there. And after high school, I started buying vinyl, and they still stuck with me. I still listen to them, so after a while, I tried to find if they repressed it, and sure enough, one day they did, and I had to pick it up. And this one's one of my favorites because it's one of my colored vinyls. It is, I believe, goldenrod, it would be the color, but it's one of my favorites. It's translucent as well, so you can see through it. It's just a single one, side A, side B. Yeah, it's one of my prettier, like, actual physical records, on top of being one of my favorite records musically of all time. So yeah, this is what it looks like. The album art is also one of my favorite album artworks of all time. The guy who does this album also did their last record, O Common Life, which came out in 2014. Similar kind of vibe to it. But it's one of my favorites, not only aesthetically, but also like with intrinsic value. Like I take a lot from this. Like for example, like when I look at this, I look at someone who, you know, you're living your life, but you have your monsters on your shoulder, and you have to continually push through and keep going and keep trying to, you know, make the best of it. And that means a lot to me as someone who deals with a lot of anxiety in this life and things of that nature. So I really enjoy the positive message behind it. I really enjoy the artwork, and it's, again, the entire package just encapsulates why this is one of my favorite records of all time. Finally, I would like to recommend 2 songs off the album. The first one being Summer, because it really just feels like summer. I mean, it's all about like growing up with your friends and adventuring and learning about yourself and just kind of exploring life and learning what life has to offer. And the second one is The Wild Bunch, and that's the song you've been listening to this entire time while listening to me talk about this band. So if you like what you're hearing, I'd check out those 2 songs and maybe even their other records. Their other records are some of my favorite records of all time. So yeah, if you like what you hear, let's give it a shot, and let's go on to the next band. The Chariot. Where do I even start? Easily in my top 2 favorite bands of all time. Easily the best live show of all time, and I don't even know. I guess I'll just start with when I saw them first. So I actually kind of saw them by accident. I mean, I was a scene kid, so I was at the show. I went to go see Pierce the Veil and Miss May I, of all bands. And then came this band called The Chariot. They got on stage and just caused a ruckus. At one point, the guitarist like goes up on top of the rafters on the 2nd floor, and he threw his guitar down to the singer, and the singer threw up his microphone, and then he jumped into the crowd, started moshing around, and I was like, I have to check this band out. And I went home, dialed up iTunes, bought their newest record, and from then on out, it was over. Of course, once I started buying vinyl in high school, just like the last video, I had to cop it. I mean, if this picture doesn't say enough about what their live show was like, then I don't know what does. It was nuts, it was gritty, it was real, it was so amazing. As far as the physical vinyl, it is, one of my more bland ones, but it's still pretty cool. Just a red. It's not 180 gram. It's one of the lighter ones, but just a A/B side vinyl, and it's packed with 10 of the most gut-wrenching, like throat-ripping songs, with the most energy, with the most passion. They just do the most, and that's why I love them so much. I happened to catch them while I was playing in music, and they very much so inspired me to kind of just wing it, just go with it, just vibe it out, just feel it out, just let your true self come out, just leave it all on the floor. And I really take inspiration from that, whether it be streaming or playing a competitive game, or playing, if I would ever play music again on live stage, same thing. It would just be go nuts, leave it all on the floor, no regrets, and just put your soul into it. Some of my favorite parts about the Chariot are the live show. Like, rest in peace to Chariot. If you didn't get to see him live, I feel bad for you, because that was the band. They were the most energetic band of all time. They started every show differently. No show was the same. They would let parts ring out for longer. They would cut parts shorter. They would use a lot of old music samples, southern music samples, because they're from the South, and it was, I can't even explain it. It's inexplicable. And just to get a feel for them, obviously, listen to the songs I'll suggest in a second here, but also just look up some live shows. Look up their documentary. If you search the Chariot documentary, you get to kind of see a very well shot, very well put together piece of art that kind of encapsulated what they did on their final tour, and that reflects what they did throughout their entire career. You should just go watch it. I'm going to put the link in the description. It's such an amazing documentary. But just go check out their live show, and you'll see why I am just enamored. I can't explain it. It's just something you got to see. And time for recommendations. If I had to recommend 2 songs off this album, it would probably be "The City," because it is one of the most emotional songs they play live. At the latter half of the song, probably 2/3 of the way through it, you'll know. It's a very poetic, existential experience, especially live. It was one of my favorite songs to hear, and I really think that others would enjoy it too, enjoy the message, enjoy the vibe. And the other song I would like to recommend would be the one we heard at the beginning, which would be Calvin McKenzie, because it has a quintessential sample that they use. They'll take something from a southern song and just play 2 seconds of it, and then it's over, and don't bring it back again. So it's just kind of the quirkiness of the band. You get kind of a feel, and yeah, those would be my 2 songs to check out. Also check out everything they put out before that. God, you could just, when you listen to it, you can just hear the growth. You can hear the artistry. You can hear the energy. And also, the singer has a second band called 68 that's kind of a Black Keys version, but with the Chariot mixed in. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's one of those things where it's just it's so weird it works. And they're one of my favorite bands too, obviously because the lead singer of this band's involved in it. But yeah, check out that music, and let's go on to the next one. Here we go. Every time I fucking die. This is probably my all-time favorite. The Chariot's up there, but I've seen these guys 9 times. They don't disappoint. They're in your face. They're energetic. They're crazy. The lyrics are tongue-in-cheek. They're fun to read. They're fun to see. They never get old. I first heard Every Time I Die when I was driving around with my bandmates at the time, and my buddy Carson puts him on in the car, and he plays the song In Rehab off their album, The Big Dirty, that's what it is. And from that point on, I was like, who the fuck are these guys, and why the fuck do I not know about them? And from then on out, just like all the rest of the bands, I know I say this a lot, I fell in love. It was over. It was done. I was like, this is it. This is the best music that ever happened. I found it. It's over. No question. I've since probably seen them up to, I think, 8 times. I'm going in like a week to Warped Tour, the last Warped Tour, to basically just to see them. I'm paying $40 to see them. Well, I had other bands, but mainly them. Yeah, I'm so stoked, and yeah, I've seen them so many times I can't even count. My favorite parts about this band are easily the live show, the lyrical content, just the amount of sheer brutality, everything. I need to break this up. Hold on. Let me break this up a little bit more. Probably musically, the thing that impresses me the most is the consistency. I mean, from their first record when they were less put together, they were more thrashy, they were more intense. Well, not more intense, but you know what I'm trying to say. They were, a little less polished all the way to now. Like, if you span from 1998 to 2018, and when they possibly put out another record, you just see the growth and the consistency, and it's intense. Also, I just love every member in the band. I've met a couple of them. I've talked to them. I've watched. They put out a documentary. It's also on YouTube if you want to get a feel for it. It's called Shit Happens, and just how funny these guys are, how down to earth they are, how just like their life is the music, and it's crazy. I mean, you can just see it in the live show. You can see it in the lyrics. You can see it in everything. Also, forgot to mention the riffs. The riffs are on point. They somehow make the heaviest songs of all time, no contest, with barely any usage of like normal standard breakdowns. Like, if you listen to hardcore at all, like, breakdowns are normally like just like you drop tune your guitar and you just hit the first 3 notes and to like a pattern, and kids go nuts, right? But these guys like make riffs that hit harder than these breakdowns, and they've consistently done it on every album, and I just can't understand how they do it. They literally perfected the formula. I don't know what they do. I don't know what's in the water in Buffalo, New York. I have no idea, but somehow they got it. This album cover is one of my favorites. The album's called X Lives, and as you can see, this is a protest in London. I forget what the protest was, but this came out in 2012, and this happened like right before that. But as you can see, the guy's wearing an Every Time I Die shirt, so it couldn't be more perfect. And I think I'm pretty sure that's the reason they put it on. Don't quote me on that, but I just love this album cover. I love this album, and it's one of my favorites of all time. There's really not much to show here for the record. I don't know if this is 180 gram. It feels a little bit heavier than most of my other ones. It may be, it may not be, but I don't know. I can't talk enough about this record. Like, this is one of those that you have to listen to multiple times to like fully feel it. And this is actually the deluxe edition too. So it's got all the B-sides, and one of my favorite songs, the song from the Clown Power, the earlier video, was a B-side, and I don't know how it didn't make it on the album, but it's one of my favorite tracks of theirs. But yeah, not too special of an actual physical record, but a very, very special musical record. For my recommendations, I would say the 2 songs that you should listen to off of this record are 1, Business Casualty, and 2, Indian Giver. Business Casualty is a mosh classic. Very fast, punchy, gritty. You heard it earlier. It's amazing. You can't go wrong with it. And Indian Giver, the song that we've been listening to this entire time, since that point, it just proves that they can do all that stuff, but also they can go big, epic, like, just big, epic sound. They can make you feel something. They can make you bob your head, jump around, everything. They just make you move. That's the whole essence of Every Time I Die. They make you move. And I love them, so I can't say anything more about it. I just love them so much. Well, that about does it, guys. Thank you guys for watching the video, letting me talk about my favorite bands, and sharing some stuff with you guys. I really appreciate it. If you guys liked the video, let me know. I really want to do more of these. I want to go through more of my record collection. I want to go through records that I like that I don't have on vinyl. I want to just talk about music. It's one of my favorite things, and I don't get to talk about it enough. And now that I have a YouTube channel, in tandem with my Twitch channel, I have a place that I can put all my thoughts about music. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. See you later.